Camille Hayes walked into the Jefferson County Courthouse not as a former soldier, but as a citizen, one determined to stand for justice. The Alabama heat didn't shake her, and neither did the suspicious glances in the courtroom hallway. Her suit was tailored but not loud, her hair pulled back, her eyes clear. Camille didn't need applause or approval. Her presence alone made people shift in their seats. 12 years as a Navy SEAL had that effect. She didn't swagger. She didn't boast. But when she moved, people noticed. To most, it was just another hearing. But to Camille, it was another kind of battlefield. Inside the courtroom, silence hung heavy. Not the respectful silence before a judge enters, no. This was thicker. Tension swirled among the onlookers. Whispers halted. Camille stood tall in the aisle, her expression unreadable, her posture deliberate. From the back of the courtroom, Officer Trent Mallory watched her like a hawk. His jaw flexed the second Camille stepped through the double doors. He didn't recognize her, not really. But something about her, the way she held herself, the quiet confidence, rubbed him raw. To a man like Mallory, a black woman walking into a courtroom with confidence wasn't just unusual. It was a threat. She handed her military-issued ID to the clerk. Everything in order. But Mallory wasn't satisfied. He barely looked at it, already deciding he didn't trust what he saw. "You think you belong here?" he barked, loud enough for everyone to hear. Camille didn't flinch. She had survived hostile interrogation rooms, ambushes in foreign terrain, and the worst kinds of bureaucracy imaginable. This was a breeze. "I've shown my ID, officer. I'm here as a witness." Mallory's lips tightened. His hand hovered near his holster. And then with no warning he struck. He stepped forward fast, driving his knee into Camille's abdomen. The courtroom gasped. A woman screamed. Papers scattered. Camille fell hard, hitting the ground near the defense table. Her breathing shallow, her eyes wide. Not in fear, in fury. She could have countered. Could have dropped him in 3 seconds. But she didn't. Instead, she stood, slowly, methodically. She brushed off her jacket, adjusted her sleeve, and looked Mallory in the eyes. "You have no idea who I am." And he didn't. He didn't know she had led Black Ops missions in Southeast Asia. Didn't know she'd been part of the Pentagon's counterintelligence task force. Didn't know she could dismantle a surveillance network blindfolded and barefoot. He didn't know that she had stood face to face with warlords and walked away without flinching. But he was about to learn. Unbeknownst to Mallory, a covert observer was already sitting in the gallery. Detective Neil Roston wasn't in uniform. He wasn't there by accident. Internal Affairs had been watching Mallory for months, collecting evidence, waiting for him to step over the line. This was it. And every moment had just been caught on Neil's hidden body cam. Within hours, the footage went viral. The headlines exploded. Officer assaults decorated veteran in courtroom. Survivor of combat attacked on American soil. Camille's name trended. Her service record was splashed across screens. And Mallory? He became a symbol not of authority, but of rot in the system. But Camille didn't chase the headlines. She chased the truth, because this wasn't just about her. It was about her cousin, Jamal Hunter, a 21-year-old student falsely arrested for fitting a description near a gas station in Montgomery. No weapon, no stolen goods. Just a hoodie and skin color that Mallory and his fellow officers used to justify yet another brutal arrest. Camille had come to testify on Jamal's behalf. And now, after the assault, she had another reason to stay. Mallory's attack wasn't random. 2 days earlier, he had received a quiet directive, a manila envelope with Camille's name, no signature, no official header. Just watch her. Intervene if necessary. Discretion advised. This wasn't policy. It was personal. Camille's profile had raised too many alarms among the wrong people. Powerful people. People who feared what she might uncover. Neil Roston knew it too. He'd been gathering information not just on Mallory, but on the network that protected men like him. A network of commanders, politicians, and private contractors using community safety programs as a front for data mining, predictive policing, and racial profiling. Camille's assault wasn't the beginning. It was the spark. Behind the scenes, she partnered with Neil and a former SEAL tech expert, Javier Jax Morales. Together, they combed through records, audio files, falsified reports, and discovered a disturbing pattern. Surveillance tech wasn't being used to protect the city. It was being weaponized. And Camille's cousin Jamal? His arrest had been a flagging test. His presence in that neighborhood matched a predictive threat matrix built using data supplied by Mallory's unit to a private security firm called Emberpoint Strategies. The city's own elected officials had signed off on the contract. One of those signatures belonged to Councilwoman Gloria Royce, a woman who had once praised Camille publicly at a veterans gala. The betrayal hit deep, and it didn't end there. Judge Evan Thatcher, the very man who presided over Camille's assault case? He was listed as a strategic advisor to Ember Point. Unpaid, sure, but he had failed to disclose it. And his court had quietly dismissed more than 20 misconduct cases linked to Mallory's unit. Camille now had enough evidence to collapse the entire framework. But she didn't seek revenge. She sought reform. With Jax's help, she built a secure digital archive codenamed Project Doctrine. It contained arrest patterns, complaint audits, data transfer receipts, city grant misappropriations, and an encrypted trail leading directly to Emberpoint's founder, Brent Ackers, a former DHS contractor with ties to overseas surveillance programs. Camille presented it to a small group of journalists. Independently, anonymously, within 48 hours, the story broke. The Hayes Doctrine, one woman's battle to expose a system built on fear. Protests erupted. Investigations launched. Emberpoint's stock tanked overnight. Mallory was placed on leave, then indicted. Royce resigned. Judge Thatcher was forced to recuse himself from ongoing cases. Congressional hearings began to review the use of predictive policing in minority communities. Camille didn't speak to the media. She didn't bask in the attention. She returned to Richmond, to the small brick house where her father had once kept a notebook filled with quotes about justice. She finished what he started. She wrote her own doctrine, not for fame, not for a movie deal, but for the next generation. She called it the Framework for Civil Defense. It was downloaded over 1 million times in the first year. It became curriculum in high schools, law enforcement academies, and community centers across the country. She trained organizers quietly. She helped build legal literacy programs. She consulted off the record with city councils and law schools. And when a 17-year-old named Marcus Blake was pulled over in a new car, cuffed without cause, and broadcast the stop live to over 500,000 viewers, Camille didn't flinch. She activated her network. Marcus was released in hours. The officer resigned in disgrace. And Marcus? He became the voice Camille had been preparing. He founded Ground Level Rights, a youth-led civic training initiative. Camille helped design its curriculum, but she never appeared in its videos, never took credit. She didn't need to, because every time Marcus spoke, every time a student stood up to ask, "Am I being detained?" her legacy echoed. The Jefferson Doctrine wasn't about Camille Hayes. It was about making sure no one had to carry the fight alone again. And she knew. The next time the system tried to silence someone like her, they'd find 1,000 others standing ready.